Yo, welcome to another episode of the BJJ Goons podcast. I'm your host, Tim, the Mushmaster Spriggs, and with me as always every week is...
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Nico Ball, the crossface killer. Glad to be back for another week. What's up with you, Tim?
I'm just getting ready for my pro wrestling debut for MCW tomorrow afternoon / evening. I'm already pretty much set. I'm in the BJJ Goons studio, just getting myself together. The bag's already packed. It's just little shit I got to get ready for, but I'm ready to go, man. I've been training since April and taking this professional wrestling journey. I'm giving it all my attention. I'm all in.
That's really dope.
Yeah, I'm
and you
all
have
in.
something lined up after that as well, or is that like a surprise? Or
I will be at the next Who's Number One event on March 25th in Dallas, Texas. I'm going to be on the pre and post show. I'm excited to be on there.
What do you mean you're going to be on the pre and the post show? Break that down. What does that mean? You're going to be like...
They just asked for my presence. They just asked for my presence, and I will be there. I'm getting a bag as well.
Your presence encompasses a lot of things. Are you fighting? You commentating? You
I'm
there?
not fighting.
I'm
I'm still a retired
business
man.
tip. So
I need to be in Florida. I'm retired. I'm just gonna be up on the beach with nice floral shirts, just sunbathing.
Like I am wearing my floral shirt from Rio. I like, if y'all watching, knowing, I always got to channel those warm vibes. And it's been pretty warm today in DC, actually. It's been like 70. So
I'm sorry. I'm wearing a baseball shirt, like an old, youth CYL baseball shirt right now. I thought I had changed into something fancier. Like, you're eating me up as far as clothes right now.
Yo, you thought you changed? Like
I've just been the last 3 weeks have been very hectic just because I'm balancing everything. And I have so many things being thrown at me, different projects that some I can talk about, but some I can't really talk about. And everything's moving at a rapid pace because I'm pushing the pace, because there's a lot of stuff that I need to get done and want to get done and will get done. So, yeah, my mind is going 1,000 miles a minute. And so I forgot to change my shirt, but it's okay because more people listen to the audio than watch the YouTube. But we do love the YouTube comments. And, so shout out to everybody.
We just interviewed Adisa, the stoic warrior. So it's like, you need to hop on his podcast or do some of that mindful meditation. Yeah, you need to like settle your mind, the calm before the storm tomorrow.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I need to do.
Clothes you're wearing, because I'm pretty sure you're supposed to be wearing certain things tomorrow, but the bag is packed.
I'm gonna be looking fly. I'm gonna be looking like the superstar that I am tomorrow. And it's going to be a great time. And everyone that sees it is going to have a blast. If you can't see it in person, just go to ragetv.com and watch MCW. This event is going to be, well, it will have already passed, but if you don't see me live in person, you can always go to ragetv.com and go log on and watch MCW, and I will be on the next show.
Yo, you need to stick that in
Spring Fever,
so that I can find that later and start sharing that places too.
My bad.
Because you'd be low-key not like promoting anything, like, yeah.
Nico,
I know, I
have a lot going on, and like, I just, how I am. Like, I make these outlines, and sometimes I just throw shit on the wall, but it's a lot. We have a lot to go over today.
Jesus Christ, you are a TLI black belt. Like, you were raised under Master Lloyd. Like, you need to always be marketing, or at least letting people know when you have an event that you're going to be participating in, and they could go. Like,
as soon as.
But I know, I have the tickets and I have a car issue. So
let's go back for a second.
I asked. I made sure good friends would also reach out and ask if you've seen him posting. I reached out and I was like, yo, motherfucker, how do I get a ticket? So like, there's also that.
And I sent you the link.
Yes, you did. Yes,
I sent you the link. I did a good job.
Yes.
I did an excellent job promoting this stuff. I did an excellent job of making clips as well. I do an excellent job considering the circumstances that I am a white belt at very many things that I am working very hard at. nonetheless,
no facts. I'm not
I
going
let
on you. I just
everybody
want to make sure
know
you put it in tonight now, because I know after tomorrow, it's tomorrow. So that way
it's
I can start
tomorrow. It's
sharing it
already
for our
passed.
patrons and our fans and everybody that's
It
gonna
was
need that
written.
stream. Because I know that's not gonna be on your mind for that tomorrow. So I can do that half. So
Nothing
that's
will
why
be
I'm
on my
saying put
mind
it there.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
I
So
will
I'm
be
saying put that there,
mindless.
and I'm a start sharing that on my story and everything. So drop that in the Discord, which I just realized if you're on Patreon, we have a Discord. And if you're like an old head or something, you don't know what Discord is. It's basically just a way to text. So it's like where you're sending text in a group chat, but it will get to like me and Tim on the phone. It's a little bit easier than Patreon messages. And we just realized that like we have to refresh the Discord link
I put a
every
new
week.
one up, a new permanent one up in the Patreon.
I don't think it can be permanent.
Are you sure?
I think the link, because that was I'm not 100% sure. This happened
Because
because
I
I was
clicked
trying to
the
get a Patreon to
tab.
my
It
other
said,
Patreon to my other podcast, and the link wasn't working. And then somebody was like, "Nah, the link will expire after a week." So I don't know if anybody needs to
check
get in
it.
there, just hit us up on the Patreon, send us a DM, and we'll send you the link if you're trying to get on the Discord.
Just check us out at patreon.com/BJJ Goons. We had Adisa, our good friend that was the creator of the Hip Hop Chess Federation. He's creating a new federation. It was a awesome interview. And we have the uncut version of that interview on the Patreon at patreon.com/BJJ Goons. At patreon.com/BJJ Goons, we don't just have bonus episodes and interviews. We also teach a technique a week. I demonstrate a technique a week on there. And we have town halls where all the Patreon members are invited, where we can talk and fellowship about what's going on in the BJJ world and how it relates to our everyday lives. We have a whole bunch of good stuff over there. And coming very soon, we are working on it, folks. We will have exclusive BJJ Goons merchandise that you can only get as a Patreon subscriber at patreon.com/BJJ Goons. Holler at us there. We have the private Discord server. We update it. We're going to have to update it every week, according to Nico, even though I swear to God I changed it so it was a permanent link. But regardless,
If
just
you
hit
saw
us up
something
there.
that said permanent link, maybe you're right. Like, I don't know.
Well, we're going to have to test it. Either way, I want you guys to go to the Patreon because it's the only place you can get our bonus content. And, we got a nice little community over there. Numbers going up. Numbers, baby. Nico, let's get into it.
I thought you were going to be like, where can we find you? I was like, yeah, let's end this episode.
This is the episode
it's
over.
Friday.
Quickest episode ever. Let's get started with
that sounded like your end of episode Nico tone. Like, I know your tones, how when your parents yell at you and they have that like specific tone,
I don't call you by your government, so I don't think
get
you're
it
going to
in.
think I'm...
So like you say, you going down to Dallas, Texas, March 25th. Mind you need to bring your ass back by the 26th because we got plans.
Yeah,
but
we got plans. March 25th, Dallas, Texas. Who's number one? We got the full card. We've went over the card before. I will be giving my predictions throughout the week. Big news concerning this card. Nicky Ryan has been injured for a very long time, and he was scheduled to fight Jacob Couch. If you don't know who Jacob Couch is, he is also known as the Hillbilly Hammer, and he will be fighting Gordon Ryan, a guy that I'm not going to get into it. If you want my full thoughts on the matchup and the card, you're going to have to look on the YouTube throughout the week for my predictions and the Patreon for my full thoughts on this card. Because by the time you guys see this, or the Patreon, because every month we get 2 bonus Patreon episodes, and I go into excruciating detail about the game inside and out. So you're going to get my full thoughts in this, but I
can give his concise thoughts on this. So like if we look at this, it's like, so Gordon set up, he's going to be fighting this match. It's going to be a 30-minute match with the Hillbilly Hammer. It has been a whole year, 365 days that Gordon has not graced our presence on the mats. And in this time, Tim has been trying to whoop his ass. So yeah, Tim's a little slightly pissed that he is not the one. Like Gordon's gonna step up. They're gonna the Ryan brothers are tapping out. We had a tummy ache, and now we have what is the injury that Nicky has? I don't know. So they're tapping out, switching up, and Tim's pissed because he's trying to fight some Gordon. He wants him some Gordon. I understand
pissed is
that.
a strong word. I'm not pissed. I am very intrigued about how everything's going down. He will fill in for his brother, yes. The match was originally scheduled for 15 minutes, and now it's going to be 30 and an open weight match because Gordon outweighs Hillbilly Hammer by a lot.
Oh, it's open weight too?
Yeah. It's a medical miracle too. This man was near death. He was talking like he needed to be in an iron lung, but somehow, some way, he found it in his heart, his desire to fight a guy that may or may not have gotten his black belt. I'm not exactly sure. Just last year, he was a brown belt, and he outweighs him by 40 pounds. He's so brave. He's so brave. But I'll be in Dallas to watch in person. I will be styling and profiling for all the goons out there. I'm putting on for the culture, Nico.
That's
they didn't want us here. They didn't want us in these rooms. They didn't want us in front of the camera, but we made it, Joe. And I'll be there.
That's going to be dope. I'm excited about that. I wish I could go down there, but like I said, you better make sure that your ass is back for the 26th and ready
Inshallah,
to go.
I will be back.
Mm-hmm.
Inshallah. We talk a lot about jiu-jitsu news recently. We just had an interview.
Now we're about to talk a lot about jiu-jitsu news. I was like, last time we was talking about ghost lockers and jiu-jitsu history and this and that. Sometimes we get off topic. But this is not Patreon. Fine. This is an on topic. We are dialed in on this episode because we're going from competition to competition.
We're going to competition to competition. We talk about a lot of news, but a big event, and it's close to my heart because a teammate and a man that I've spent a lot of time on the mats with, Kieran Kichuk, has just won the Emerald City Invitation. The 8-man $10,000 tournament bracket included Gianni Gerpro, Gabriel Souza, Josh Cisneros, John Calistine, Adam Benayoun, Pedro Serrano, and Jordan Holly. And Kieran Kichuk ended up being the 55 pound 55 pound champion.
I got you. This is what we're here for, teamwork.
I'm sorry, Nico.
My brain is fried. He killed it. He choked out Ryan Benayoun in the final, correct? I didn't see the other matches, yes. But it was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Because I don't think we've interviewed Kieran on here, but we've definitely talked about him. And you talked about how he is a savage.
Kieran is a savage. Kieran has scary jiu-jitsu. His whole goal in life is to go to these big matches, take on the baddest men on the planet and submit them. Not let it go to judge's decision, not eke out a win, just stay in a dominant position and not attack. Kieran Kichuk is a finisher, and he demonstrated that at ECI, the Emerald City Invitation. I trained with him before he went off and did the competition. This man was cutting weight. He walks around at 170. That's his ideal weight. He cut down to 155. And even while he was cutting weight, he was still training and he felt sharp. He choked the hell out of me. He's been focusing on finishing from the back, finishing from the spider web position. I think that's the position we were talking about earlier, what the 10th Planet calls it. I just call it Mount Armbar position, like cross-side.
That's what you were talking about.
Yes, that's what I was talking about.
I was like, what position? What are you talking? Okay, yeah. Yo, everybody at TLI is doing some crazy shit. So like, first of all, let's rewind a little bit because you said that you trained with him before he left. So like people that don't know who Kieran is. So Kieran trains at TLI. He's Canadian. I'm not sure what town in Canada, but like he's Canadian and he'll pop up here in the US. He'll stay at the TLI Fight House because Master Lloyd has a house like where Sadiq lives and like some other fighters that are coming. So he pops up for fight camps and I've known him for as long as I've been at TLI for like 2 years. He'll pop up before Worlds, he'll stay a while. I didn't even know he was here until I saw his picture on Instagram. So like, that's how he ends up like training with Tim and all of them. Like, and it's interesting because like Kieran, out of everybody in TLI, like he don't have a car. And like TLI ain't like, it's kind of hard to get there on the bus, but like he'll be there. He's the only one that's there every day before training or on time, ready to drill. Like, cause everybody else be like late, cause Master Lord notoriously late, like notoriously late. So he'd be betting and like, he used to feed me so much because like, if you got to training before he got to training, like he would pay you lunch, except Kieran, cause Kieran was always there on time trying to drill. He was always ready to drill, you know? So it's dope to see that ever like, it's dope to see that him going there and he has lost some matches coming up too, and how disappointed he gets to like getting that bag 10 grand and just being a savage. Like, cause this is not the first competition where he's just going through submitting people. He's been all over the world, even with the pandemic.
Yeah, and he has that bulldog mentality. No matter how many times he gets knocked down, he'll get back up again. He's been consistent. He's been dedicated, highs and lows, big losses, and it's all set him up to this big win. We need to get him on the show very soon, Nico. I'm very pleased with his performance, and I'm not surprised. And even in regulation, he was going for attacks, and people were hesitant to engage with him, and rightfully so, because he can take your back, he can take your leg. He's going to end up hurting you some way or somehow. And congratulations to him. Let's just go into it, though. There's something interesting about this tournament. It's the EBI rules. I am not a fan of EBI rules. Going into this conversation, I just want to make it clear. I am not a fan of these rules. If somebody can present an argument in which you show me that this is good for jiu-jitsu, having these big money tournaments with EBI rules, I'm all ears. I don't like the rules. But Nico, you told me what the rules are. Tell the world what the rules are, so we're clear, and then you tell me your side. What do you think about them?
Okay, so EBI rules are a 10-minute, no points regulation period, followed by 3 rounds of overtime with grapplers competing from the fastest submission or escape for the fastest submission or escape.
Yes.
Time. I feel like that's just confused. Like it's just confusing and it's weird and it's like, why? Why would be my question. Why? Who came up with that and why?
Eddie Bravo came up with it. I'm certain.
Why? Like, it's just kind of random. It's like very niche rule. So I definitely agree with you. And I was just laughing. Like, it's like, I wasn't laughing like I disagree with your point. When I saw like what Tim said on the outline, I was like, that's a very good point, like, because I think, well, what is your question? We haven't even said it. Do you want to
my question
or no, what is your statement? It's like that you think, I guess it is a question, but
I have a question first. Do you think EBI rules bastardize jiu-jitsu? I believe EBI rules bastardize jiu-jitsu. Being allowed to start on the back in jiu-jitsu defeats the purpose of doing jiu-jitsu. It takes out a huge chunk of what makes the sport and the art so great. From a purely tactical standpoint, all you have to do is stall until overtime to get on your opponent's back. I look at that as a delay of game over and over and over again in football. It defeats the purpose of doing jiu-jitsu. And when you do that, which is going to happen a good amount of the time, you're not able to display the art. People go to watch these sporting events to see the actual sport. People want to see people get put out of there. People want to see these athletes attack and go to try to win, to finish their opponent. That's the whole point of submission only. But when you add different facets to the rules, if you add an overtime, it's no hard and fast. After 10 minutes, it's over. So you need to just give it all you got for 10 minutes because we don't know if you're going to get the decision. If there's an overtime where you start in a dominant position, you're not going to be motivated to train to finish someone in your game with different types of attacks to show beautiful jiu-jitsu or just show jiu-jitsu or show that you have some kind of fight in you. You're going to train to be on someone's back and not let them out and or finish them. or you're going to train to get out of these positions that the EBI rules put you in the overtime rule set. You're going to focus a good chunk of your time learning how to escape those positions that.
And let's break them down. What are those positions? It's like a back, is it
back
like
mount,
armbar, back mount?
The two main ones that I know of, and here's another thing we talked about at practice the other day. They changed the rules about what you're going to do in overtime as far as positions a lot. When I did subversive, it was either you end up in the armbar position or you end up on someone's back. And by armbar position, I mean cross side, mount armbar, the person's arms are crossed. EBI, Eddie Bravo calls it spider web, whatever you want to call it. You're in a dominant position, ready to submit your opponent. And that is not what you should be training all the time, because in my opinion, not being submitted is the base level of understanding jiu-jitsu. That's the first thing that you learn, how not to be submitted. Great.
Curl
Great.
up in a ball. That is facts. Big
yes,
facts.
and
curl
that's
up
what
in
happens.
A ball. Hold yourself, neck down.
And it's a masterful ability to be able to just submit people when they do that. That's very masterful. However, it's very low tier to just clam up and be in the turtle position and just not get submitted, because it's not true to the martial arts. Because if we install striking into the mix, you're not going to do that. You're going to get beat on. I'm not a fan of that rule set. How does submitting someone from the back when you didn't have to earn the position demonstrate who has more skills? If a blue belt is on my back and they're somewhat competent, like they can hang on my back for a long time. So I just don't think that demonstrates who has the better skills, because jiu-jitsu is about acquiring position. Any reputable coach is going to tell you it's position before submission. That's the way I came up. I have a pretty solid resume when it comes to jiu-jitsu. And people can say whatever they want about competition isn't everything, and it's not everything, but you should be listening to coaches that produce world-class talent on a regular basis, and you learn from them, and then you get back to me about how important just submitting someone is in comparison to getting position first. Because if positions didn't matter in jiu-jitsu, when we go to these competitions with points, they wouldn't award points for you acquiring the position. If showing great jiu-jitsu meant that you were in a dominant position and finished, we wouldn't start every match from the feet in neutral. Every combat sport has a set time limit, set rules, set rounds, and a scoring system. Even though you don't get points for every punch in an MMA fight, you get graded each round on certain criteria. In a way, MMA is kind of like submission only or finish only. You have to finish your partner or else we go to decision. The impetus, it behooves you to submit or finish your partner in MMA. It behooves you in judo to pin your partner. Same thing in wrestling. And there is a time limit and there is criteria. The problem is in jiu-jitsu, we are too Hollywood. We treat this as kind of a spectacle and not a sport. There needs to be clear criteria for victory.
Oh yeah, I think like that's a topic that's been debated by everybody. I think that's the issue, is like these convoluted rules or switching up the rule sets. It makes it very confusing. And is it worth your time to like really learn and train? Because one would think, if you think about how a competition trains and how like you prepare for worlds and you do a camp and like you train for the time set, how many is your minutes and like what is valid. It's like, so you kind of really do have to change the focus of your training to an EBI rule set. And is it really worth it? Like, yeah, of course, like 10 grand, I guess, but it's just, it is kind of a drag. It's annoying. Like all these different rule sets really don't add value to the sport, that people are so confused in it. And just like when like Jamil went to ADCC and like he lost to Nikki Ryan because of whatever weird rule about like coming up from the 50, I think it was, or I don't know. It's like, so as an athlete, like it's important to not only like make weight, like and prepare for your fight, but like you also need to know the rules to the tournament. And like when you have EBI and events like this and these weird ass rule sets, it's like, how much time do you really spend? Like that overtime, it seems like a fun game that you would play in class, not what you want to really be competing for, because it's not like a good representation of how a fight would be. Like, what fight is going to start out with like you defending an armbar?
It's like if we had game 7 of the NBA finals and the game was tied at regulation, and instead of playing another 5 minutes of basketball, they played a game of horse to see who was the NBA champion. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, I remember one time there was a black belt teaching. He was like guest teaching at a different school before I was at TLI. And he asked, like, he didn't know what to teach. So like he asked like a blue belt or a white belt. He's like, what's your favorite guard? And he's like, said like maybe like butterfly guard or something. It's like, all right, so like, how do you get into it? He's like, what's your entrance? Like I don't know.
I always think about that. That's
Yeah.
a good.
But then his response to him when he didn't have an answer, he's like, so that's your favorite guard and you don't know how the fuck to get into it? Like how are you gonna get there in a fight then? It just like the way he carried him like that, he's like, so like what, you think you're just gonna ask the guy to like stand over you and like hold your arms out so you can get into the spider? So it's like you got to be able to think like in a fight, like it's not just can you hold out in a defense, but like can you maneuver to that position?
Can you attack?
The entrance and everything. Like
that thought process is what drove me to takedowns. It drove me to the judo and it drove me to the wrestling, because I know that my best chance of killing someone that's trying to kill me is putting them on the ground and me dominating. And if I'm on the street, if I'm somewhere in the world where I'm not allowed to pull guard, I need to be able to put the match on the ground. And you know what's going to happen in a street fight? I know what's not going to happen. The person's not going to sit on their ass and turn their back to me and let me put my hooks in, or lay on their back and let me get a hold of their arm. That's not going to happen under
white
any
belts
circumstance.
would let you put their hooks in. Like,
yes, like hold on. We've been fighting in this club for 10 minutes. Let's see who's a real badass. I'm going to sit down and turn my back to you, and I want you to put the hooks in and get a seatbelt grip on my back. That's all I'm saying. I'm cutting this other thing out because we're almost out of time. We talk about trash talk all the fucking time. I don't give a shit about trash talk no more. Talk your shit. We can talk about this another time. I have a very serious topic that I don't think we've ever talked about on this podcast.
Oh, you bringing up
a question?
Topics? All right.
I have a question. It's in the outline. Should you pay your coach for privates rather than asking questions after class? And what I mean by questions, you see how I said questions? I'm not a coach no more, but when I used to coach at the gym all the time, after practice, people would ask me a whole bunch of questions about technique and shit. They wouldn't ask just one. They'd be like, coach, can you show me this? Or coach, I'm having a problem with this, and that, and the third. Shout out to him. He's in Florida right now. I hope he comes back to Maryland. Coach Jamal from Team Lord Irvin, Jamal Hargrove.
Wait, he dipped out?
Oh my God. That's a conversation for the Patreon, but he's not in Maryland right now.
Okay, we about to film Patreon right after this or something. Shit. Okay.
Fuck it.
But
anyway, like I was saying,
yeah.
He said whenever he alluded to this, I don't know. Regardless, he said this: whenever someone asks me a bunch of questions after practice, I do this. If you guys are listening to the podcast at your favorite streaming platform, I'm making the money sign, like I'm rubbing dollars and cents in my hands. He said, motherfuckers got to pay. Because people ask a lot of questions after practice, and coaches have lives. Yeah. After practice, Ty is trying to get the hell up out of there. He'll help you, but people, we get out of practice at like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. We got work the next day. We got families. We got a girl or a boyfriend that wants our time. Like, we trying to get up out of there.
Exactly. I was just posting on Instagram today because it's Alex Media's birthday. And then that's the dude, he has the podcast studio in New York. And I was like, thanks to you, like, I charge a consultation fee this year. So it's like, if you want to talk to me about your podcast ideas or how to set up or this or that, it's like, yo, a small fee. And it's like, because it is my time, whether 30 minutes or an hour. And like, honestly, it's not like, hey, Azula. See, I have mice, so I borrowed a cat, and this cat has been alias as shit. She will not come out. I have not seen her in weeks. She just popped out.
She's been eating mice. Like, that's what she's been doing. She's probably eating good. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But like I was saying, it's like, I've been telling people, like, you got to pay to play. Like, first of all, like, you know, I not only did I have to pay for that consultation to know that person, it's like, but, you know, people are busy and like it's their craft. Like, I've paid a lot to learn how to do the things that I know how to do. Like, you know, Tim's paid a lot to get to be a black belt and have the expertise that he has. So it's like, Tim's also trying to fucking feed himself and, you know, like living off fight money and sponsorship. It's like, you know, so these are our skills. So not only does it help that person, but like, it's also, I'm a lot more invested in my clients than anybody else, you know? Like, I've been in my like emotions for like the last week, but it's like the only people that I know that I have to respond to are the people that work for me for Favela Jiu-Jitsu in Brazil. It's like, I can't not respond to them. It's like everybody else I can cut off. So it's like, when you invest in somebody, they're gonna invest in you and it's really gonna help out. So hell yeah, pay your fucking teacher. We just went through a pandemic too, y'all.
Exactly.
Like, not all buying private lessons is
an important part. I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to.
Do all teachers know everything? Like singing?
Not everybody knows everything. I'll say one more thing about this topic. Buying private lessons is an important part of supporting the team. There are people that will pay hundreds of dollars for an instructional series, but they're training with guys that are on the competition scene all the time, learning cutting edge techniques. They've been through the fire. Why don't you support the guys in your gym? I could never get around that understanding. I could never understand why you got world-class guys in the gym and you can't just pick their brain and pay for them to have a private lesson, because the finances of jiu-jitsu, if you're a full-time athlete, are as such. If you want to make a lot of money, you got to teach 9 times out of 10. And if you're competing at a high level, it's feast or famine when it comes to the bag, unless you're a very small percentage of athletes. Getting private lessons with these people can be the difference between them continuing to train full-time and be a member of the team and coach at the gym, and them having to have a real job and not having to compete anymore. And you kind of lose a training partner, because I've been in situations where guys just flat out quit or move on to different parts of their lives or just get a real job, whatever the hell that means, because the economy in jiu-jitsu does not allow for you to just get by off of competing or just get by off of teaching at the gym. And a lot of times, the guys that are competing full-time have better techniques than guys that are older and haven't competed in a long time, because they know what's going on. A guy like Kieran, he's got cutting edge techniques. I'm learning from Kieran because he's going into the fire every weekend, damn near.
You know, that's funny that you should mention that, when like, because we did an interview with Dr. Rosa, who's a chiropractor, right?
Yeah.
So I went to see him before I had my hip surgery. Yeah. And what he told me about surgeons, he was like, yo, you want somebody like middle-aged, like not somebody too old that they don't be studying that new shit, but not somebody too young that they don't know what the hell they're doing. Yeah. Like, I was like, wow. You know, I never would have thought about that, like that a real old doctor, because you're like, oh, he's so experienced. He's like, nah, you don't want an old head. You want somebody that's like hip to like the new technology with athletes. And it's like, and it's the same thing with like training. It's like, you got to think about it. It's like, because I've trained with like a lot of people, and it's like somebody your size, like, let's think, because like, again, we're on competition team. So if you're in like a random place in Alabama, wherever, and you're training and your coach and you're my size and your coach is Tim's size, his game ain't right for me. Like, so I know Tim and I've seen him doing techniques, and I've seen the way that he'll modify techniques because he's had to be doing them on me and I'm entirely too small, and like how he adjusts actually the techniques that he's gonna teach like very quickly. Not everybody can do that, you know? So it's worth like, you know, finding somebody else that you can work with that has more of your game or more of your style or more of what you need, you know? Even if they're a purple belt, you know, I've learned a lot of shit from purple belts that will like beer and bolo or have a crazy style or that will help me with small things. And
exactly.
I think another important detail is like, especially for somebody like, cause when I train, I'm in the room, like, and not everybody is, but it's like, we'll take an example. It's like, I'm in the room with like you and DJ and Malachi and Muhammad. And it's like, so when I'm drilling whatever I'm drilling, it's like, it's not like y'all don't help me and y'all won't give me your tips, but that's in a very like light setting. And it's for the technique that we're doing. And it's different than like having that time on a private where you're just focusing on you. And most of the time they like black belts will open up to more of your game and more of what you actually thought you were going to get.
Yeah, I totally agree. We can go on and on about this subject. Bottom line is pay your coaches. You want that extra help, pay for it. Okay.
And if you have, drop your experiences in the comments. Like, have you done privates? What's your experience with it? Did you like it? Was it worth it? Let's hear about that too. That would be definitely interesting. We want to hear about that.
Tell us all that good stuff. Well, Nico, do you have anything you want to add this week?
Not really. Just that we got the BJJ Goons hoodies and the Interim These Nuts t-shirts on favelajujitsu.com. So make sure you go and grab them. Hell yeah. I love that t-shirt too. It's soft as hell.
I love it. Yeah, it shows off my muscles real nice.
Yeah.
Before we end, I just want to give a shout out to John's Fit Meals. I've been eating them this whole week. They help a lot when you're on the grind. Having a meal prep service is a lifesaver if you are an athlete, if you're a busy person with job, family, extracurricular activities. And John's Fit Meals is the best meal prep service that I've ever used. In the DMV area, if you're living in the DMV area, hit them up. Go to johnsfitmeals.com. Use promo code BJJ Goons for a very, very nice discount. I eat them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I've been powerlifting and doing jiu-jitsu and pro wrestling. And every time I eat one of these meals, I feel fully nourished. I have a lot of energy, and it's very simple. Homemade, real, all natural products. It's not like some microwavable shit that you would get. It's not like, have you ever heard of Steakums?
Yes.
It's not like Steakums. These are homemade meals put in a container. Now you can microwave it or you can heat it up because my microwave broke. So I reheat it on the stove. I mean, it's just like home cooked meals for you, full of the nutrients you need. I'm looking buff and chiseled like hell right now. And I need to be because I'm a pro wrestler. And a huge part of me being able to look so good and perform so well is that I have a meal prep service like John's Fit Meals. So go to the website. And
that's what's up.
You can also find me at Tim Spriggs BJJ on Instagram or Facebook. You need to go on Instagram and like and share all my stuff because I'm trying to get my blue check mark for some reason as the #1 athlete in a sport that the entire world performs and knows about. I don't have a blue check mark. So you guys need to help me out there. And you can go to timspriggsbjj.com where you can get a game plan. You can get your matches critiqued. You can get a private lesson or a seminar. And I do private lessons both in person and virtually. So hit me up there. Nico, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at no_new_Nico. That's no_new_Nico. And also check out favelajujitsu.com or favelajujitsu.com. Yeah, but I was going to say the Instagram page too, because, you know, I be editing them videos and putting them up on there. But if you follow me on Instagram, you can find all of that on my profile.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this has been the BJJ Goons podcast. See you next time. Peace.
Peace.